StormWatch number 10, written by Peter Milligan, art by Miguel Sepulveda. Last issue was a whole Red Lantern thing that ended up being resolved in Red Lanterns number 10. This issue is its own totally separate thing. And we open up with Engineer looking out over Earth, just being like, okay, so StormWatch protected the planet from alien threats, which was pretty black and white on terms of how to deal with that. But now we've got like superheroes, which are making things a lot more complicated on what counts as a threat. Also, why are so many of them in America? That's just the thing. And so she's trying to get more information, so she sends down StormWatch to just observe the heroes down there. And we get I'm always blanking on his name, Hawksmoor. He's in Gotham, and he's went to like the oldest part of the city, and he's asking the city, hey, what's the deal with Batman? But apparently the city can't stop talking about owls, because it's just been owls nonstop in Gotham. So, yeah, not getting much there. Meanwhile, John Jones goes to Mumbai, India, to which apparently there is a woman who's reputed to have the destructive power of the goddess Kali. I'm not entirely sure who they're talking about there. I don't know. So then we see Apollo and Midnighter in Metropolis. They're getting glimpses of Superman. And Engineer tells them, please get the secret identity of Superman. And Apollo's kind of pissed off by this. He's like, man, all these secrets. I hate these damn secrets. And Midnighter's like, hey, you get kind of used to him. He's like, oh, you get kind of used to him. Screw you, Midnighter. Midnighter's like, what the hell is your problem? And Engineer's like, hey, guys. And he's like, not a good time. He's like, no, I've changed the plans. You got to go to France. So then we cut over to France, where there's an archaeological dig going on 2 hours earlier. And this archaeological group manages to find this strange technological device that's buried in the earth. And the main guy at the digs it up, and he starts analyzing it. And he's like, this is all the dirt and stuff on this is dated correctly. This is a genuine, anachronism of what in the hell this thing is doing here. And he accidentally presses a button on the side of it, which causes some electricity to attack his brain. And then Engineer tells us, okay, here's what happened in that last scene. They dug up a thing called a Freno module. Used to belong to StormWatch. We had a couple hundred of them, and one of them became unaccounted for, and somehow they found it. So we got to go stop this guy. And he's like, what do you mean we got to stop this guy? What's wrong with him? And it's like, okay, that. And they point over to the side, and it's just this terrifying looking monster thing with glowing eyes and teeth that just don't belong in teeth places. And he's genuinely just causing destructive mayhem. He's already killed everybody at the archaeological dig site. So he's also giving off massive forms of electricity. So that's his other thing. So meanwhile, Apollo charges in. He's like, I don't care what he's got. I'm taking him out. Midnighter and Engineer is just like, what is wrong with him today? So Apollo goes in, tries to punch him out. Doesn't quite go so well because he's being massively electrocuted. And Midnighter's like, hey, all right, so I'm guessing that I need to take out this Freno module thing. Where's that? And she's like, oh, it's somewhere around here. You can't miss it once you find it. So he goes off searching for it. Meanwhile, Apollo keeps on getting knocked down and getting back up again. Engineer tells him to use his powers to basically knock out all of the communications in the area, so that way they can fight in peace without anybody taking pictures of them. And that scene just basically ends with Apollo's going to... He's just kind of pissed off for some reason that Midnighter's going to find the Freno module. I'm not sure why. However, Midnighter makes his way into the camper where the professor was. He finds the Freno module and accidentally gets too close, which then causes him to see some things in his mind. He says, no more beating. I'll do it better next time. I'll really hurt him. We don't know what he's talking about. Then we cut to the plot that happened at the end of issue 7, where Harry and Emma are in Antarctica, and they are just using the technology they stole from StormWatch and able to basically just spy on StormWatch. He's just looking around, seeing what else StormWatch is doing. And Emma's like, you're holding me hostage. How do you know I'm not going to use this to just call for help? And he's like, because you love me. Also, I can kill you. And then we see the villain that they framed for the whole moon thing in the first arc. His name was the Fox. Harry goes and visits him, and he's like, hey, I know who framed you, and I hate them too. Join me, and we will take them out. And he's like, okay. And so Harry just teleports him out of the prison he was in. And that's all we're getting of that issue, but just know it happened. So Apollo's still fighting off the changed professor guy. And Martian Manhunter's trying to get into his head to stop him, but there's literally no way to do that. And then we cut back to Midnighter, who's still like being taken over by the Freno module. And the only reason he hasn't been completely submerged is because he has a strong enough mind to resist it. But then Jenny Q shows up, and he's like, Jenny, please help me. And he's like, didn't you try to kill me like an issue or two ago? And she's like, I'm okay. That was a mistake. And she's like, okay, you could say sorry then. And he's like, I'm not going to apologize for nothing. And she's like, psh, all right, whatever. And she causes some like energy field or something like that stops the Freno module from going off. But it doesn't like turn it off. It just redirects the energy to somewhere, somewhen else, which could just show up at any point in the future or past or whatever. And Midnighter's like, Jesus, you got the power to just do that? Maybe I should have killed you. So anyway, once they take out the Freno module, the professor goes back to normal. They take him to the StormWatch base just to run some tests on him. He's back to normal. He's totally human. He apparently has a 65% chance of increased paranoid schizophrenia in his future. But, yeah, par for the course with this stuff. And then Midnighter and Apollo are like, hey, so what should we do with this Freno module? And he's like, well, we should put it away. We should put it in this secret back room where it's not going to bother anything. But then Engineer comes out and is just like, by the way, when we last used this stuff, StormWatch was a public entity. Like, we made ourselves known. The issue being is that when we did that, it was causing, like, different countries then came up and started, like, saying, okay, whose side is StormWatch really fighting for? And it apparently resulted in the 7 Years' War, which is news to apparently everyone there. They're like, no, that wasn't what happened. And Engineer explains, no. Like, it took us like 30 years of rewriting history and blanking minds to make it so that everyone thinks that the 7 Years' War happened for a different reason. But really, they were all fighting over us and the power we gave to them. And the only reason that the 7 Years' War ended, apparently, was because they dropped these Freno modules down on one side and just said, okay, use them and you'll win. So, yeah, they put this thing away and put it in the back room. And Apollo gets to talking about what's really actually pissing him off. And he's like, basically it comes down to the fact of like, he's part of a secret organization, which, fine, whatever, but he lived so much of his life in the closet. And when he finally has the strength to come out as gay, now he has to keep all these other secrets about who he is and what he works for. And he just doesn't want to do that. And he walks away sadly from Midnighter. Midnighter's like, damn it, I can't help with that one. And that's it. That's where the issue ends. Just a nice little one and done. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I've been liking how StormWatch has been going for the most part throughout the entire run. I can't really have any fault with this issue as a whole, despite the fact that they have such big ideas with these things, and then they just boil them down to like one issue long arcs. And I really want them to just take the time to expand upon it. If they don't have anything more to say, or they have other ideas they want to do, then fine, go with what you're doing. But I really want to see these ideas explored in some way. Like StormWatch being made public back in the 1700s. That's super interesting. But it was one panel in this book, and we'll probably never hear about it again. So, I don't know. That's just me personally. Overall, though, I'm going to give this one I give it a 7. I don't know. Something about the Freno modules being introduced, taken out, and taken care of all in like the back half of the issue just felt a bit too easy to me. But I do like the way that, Apollo's dealing with something. It's furthering character stuff across the board. Everyone's got their own thing. So 7 for this. See how they can change it up next issue.